Because now it's different, is the way I'm viewing it. Now it's different. The rumors flying in newspapers and on television and on the internet is one thing.
What you doing? What you doing? Where you at? Where you at? Oh, you got plans. You got plans. Don't say that.
All right. Welcome in on this Tuesday. Dennis Fithian with you here, ready to go with the Maize and Blue Review Afternoon Live. Welcome in. Somebody that's watching for the first time or listening. We're here every day, weekdays at 1 o'clock. We're also on after basketball and football games. And we're going to talk some basketball and football today. Michigan with a game tonight. We'll get to that. Plus, a White Lightning making a decision this weekend. We'll fill you in on the Michigan recruiting spotlight. Plus, the GOAT hanging them up, give you some thoughts officially. Hanging them up, give you some thoughts on that. But we'll start with the big news of the day. And it's Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh, tomorrow National Signing Day. And Jim Harbaugh is reportedly going to be out in the Twin Cities. Minneapolis, and going to be interviewing for the Vikings job. And you heard Rich Eisen there at the outset on his show that it's different now. And, you just sit back and you could tell yourself, if you're a Michigan fan, just how this feels. I mean, yeah, it's great. We had great insiders here on the Maize and Blue Review. Josh Henskey's been working the phones and working his contacts and talking with his sources. So he's doing it all day long, and every day he's been on top of this. But, you can tell just by somebody, you out there, that, that this now is a situation where it is, however you want to put it, perilous, that it seems like Jim Harbaugh is going to jump to the NFL. Now, there's a lot of talk like, this is beyond, it doesn't matter if he wants to come back, the damage is done. I'm not buying any of that. Now, it feels like Jim Harbaugh is going to take that Vikings job, or, the Dolphins have some kind of smoke screen, and that, they're going to jump in there. And if he really is going to the NFL, and those were his intentions all along, that, the Dolphins are not just going to let him go to Minnesota, they'll jump in and they'll scoop him up. But so that's the way it feels right now. But, maybe Jim doesn't get the money and control and all those things. Now, he might already have all that. That's why he's on the plane out there, and this is just formality. But, that's what we're doing is, talking about, what could be happening here and what is going on. But, if Jim Harbaugh wants to come back, and, he could still be the Michigan head coach, and, people are like, oh, what about next year? Well, what about next year? I mean, talk about what's going on right now. The one thing about Jim Harbaugh last year, and I think what's happening right now confirms, my suspicion in how, last year, Jim Harbaugh wanted an NFL job last year, but, he was out there and nobody would give him the time of day. Now, he was coming off a miserable season, put whatever you want into it, the COVID or whatever else. But the 2-1 season, I mean, he looked haggard and it just looked like it was over. And, nobody wanted to give him the time of day last year. And, I thought that he wanted to go to the NFL last year. It's not like the athletic director was like, oh, man, we really want you back. Come on back, Jim. He's like, you can come on back. But, we're taking, half your salary and everything else. But, now with the kind of season that Michigan had, he looks fresher, and now it's everybody's looking at him in a different light. I mean, we'll just be obvious and honest about, all of that. And there are teams that are interested in him with so many openings and everything else. Let's just, face the facts when it comes down to that. So, as we're sitting here and talk about it, I see when I talk with, with people that are, on the Michigan side, there's a lot of angst towards the athletic director, Ward Manuel. And, it was Ward Manuel's job. Ward Manuel was not the one that was able to get Jim Harbaugh initially. Remember, that was Jim Hackett. And what Ward Manuel did last year, Ward Manuel was widely applauded, hey, great job getting Jim back and, coming up with the incentive-laden, contract, awesome job. And then this time around, whatever those numbers are at or anything else, what everybody's saying, he was fine with the numbers, and maybe that's, all true. But, Ward Manuel's he's got one job, and his job was to, get Jim Harbaugh back in Ann Arbor. And, Ward might be sitting here and saying, you have no idea, Jim wanted to go to the NFL all along, wanted to go last year when, he had the opportunity this year. There's nothing I could have done. There's no Godfather deal. There's no donor coming in and saying, you know what, we'll give you a Tucker deal. We'll go over the top of Tucker. You name it, whatever you want. You know what? We'll give every kid $1 million too. Like, I don't know if there was a Godfather deal out there. And if you want to know how I feel about it, that is where I'm at with it. I think that, it's all, a guessing game when it comes down with Jim Harbaugh. I felt like I've had a pretty good feel with Jim Harbaugh all along here. I thought that he was looking for an NFL job last year, even though, the Michigan side came out and told, the insiders and the reporters like, no, that wasn't happening. Everybody's like, well, see, it was reported. It felt like he wanted an NFL job last year, and he might just want one this year. And it doesn't matter what, Michigan's bringing to the table. He's gone. He was as good as gone as soon as he could get, a job. So that's how I feel about it right now. Now, I don't know 100% that that's true, but that's the way it looks. I mean, that's the way it looks. That's the way it feels. That's the way it's walking. That's the way it's quacking. All those things that you say. I mean, that's the way it looks to me. But I do find a lot of angst towards the Michigan people that I am talking with. They're thinking, Ward has screwed this up. And, maybe he has. Maybe, I don't know about nickel and dime or, trying to come in low, just didn't offer him a blank check. To me, he had one job, and it was to deliver Jim Harbaugh back here to Ann Arbor to get him back, not let him get on that plane, whatever it was going to take. And, I don't know actually when that plane is leaving. So, maybe Ward is still out there. Maybe, Ward has another card to play. Maybe he has that final Godfather offer. They were sitting on him, and he was just going to wait. And he's like, all right, I'm going to spring that out there on Jim, and we'll see what happens. And it might not matter. So, that's the part. Now, I find that people online, Michigan fans, that, and it's understandable, they're angry. They're hurt, like this is a destination job. Look what happened this year. You get bigger fish to fry, man. You can negotiate all this name, image, and likeness. And, Michigan football, they're going to be able to compete with Ohio State. They're going to the college football playoff. This was not just a one in a decade or one in a 20-year type thing. This is going to happen. Maybe not annually, maybe every other year, maybe, once every 3 years getting in there. I mean, that's the thought. And once you got a taste of it, as a Michigan fan, sure, everybody was telling Michigan fans, to relish it. You don't know when you're going to get another chance to get back to Indianapolis. I got there for the first time. I don't know when you're going to get a shot to go to the college football playoff. But, if you're a Michigan fan, you heard that. But the other side is like, man, you just wanted more. I mean, once you get once you see how the others are living, you want it. It reminds me, a couple of years ago, I went to Fort Lauderdale with my dad. We were staying at his friend's house, man, $1 million house, everything else, drive with his friend. We're going up to the store. And he said, yeah, once you get a taste of how the other people lived, you don't want to go back. That's how I felt in Indy, this year, and going to the Orange Bowl. I don't want to go back, to losing Ohio State every single year. And never going to Indianapolis. And Harbaugh unlocked it. Still seems like the key for the best situation for Michigan to be able to do that. Now, having said all of that, and this is how it feels today, and I feel the same way, like that Michigan football is, it's just going to fall off here. That that Harbaugh is the best guy for the job, and he's a 5-star, and anything that they can bring in at this point, it's just not gonna cut the mustard. They're gonna have to take a couple steps back, and it's going to be a couple years, and it's a rebuild, or all those use a pro term there. That's the way it feels now. That's not necessarily the case, even though it feels like that. I mean, the offseason is going to feel like that, but if you take a look at it, and Harbaugh is just in his 7 years there, and he did a good job mostly, but not against Ohio State, not in bowl games, and obviously not against Michigan State. So there's there's some meat for somebody to come in to still chop. I know the fear is that it's going to go back to the Hoke and Rich Rod days, and he's like, oh boy, all you guys that were slamming Harbaugh, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Doesn't mean whoever Coach X is that comes in, if it plays out this way, that Michigan's just going to go back and it's going to be like Rich Rodriguez and Hoke's third year, and Michigan's going to be looking up at everybody in the standings and wishing for the days of Jim Harbaugh. It doesn't have to be like that, even though it feels like that here today. So I understand why people are incensed and mad at Harbaugh. And you know what? The thing is, the NFL timeline and the college football timelines, they don't match up. It's like, how often do you have it where it's nice and neat? Like, I'm not any big fan of Brian Kelly, and certainly, he was out eating ribs at, some recruit's house, and he was looking down at his phone, and he was getting the LSU job instead of saying, oh, hey, you know what, I'm going to have to break the dinner. He finished up his dinner. He's already going to LSU. Boom, got out of there. And that happens all the time. And how many times we've been watching bowl games, and, a guy's already got his deal out there and he's behind. And then, after the game, they're like, hey, coach, and I don't want to hear anything about that question. That's ridiculous. That's just part of the game. And I know it feels like it should be different because Jim Harbaugh, and he's a Michigan man, and he's, captain comeback. And I guaranteed, I'm going to beat Ohio State. And, Bo said, well, Jimmy said it, so we got to go out, all of that. I know. So, there you go. And then to wrap it up and come back to it, he may just want to go to the NFL, and he may have done that. That may have been the case all along, even going back to last year, and he didn't get the time of day last year. And you know what? Whether you say, money or whatever he was talking about, and, he wasn't really hurt by the incentive-laden deal. Well, you know what? Now that he's sitting on the mountaintop and he's got the options, and he say, you know what? I am going to the NFL. And, nobody's going to stop me here. And, being angry at him doesn't seem like I think that at first people are going to be angry. But, it's mostly, that anger is mostly just sadness because you had, you finally got close to the summit here. And now it feels like, now it's, back on down to the bottom. So, I get that part. And I feel bad. If you're out there and want to throw some feedback in, like Rosidi. Here's somebody talking. He's Rosidi talking about Jim Harbaugh says, I believe Jimmy will leave. I believe he'll be on a mission to match out and do the SEC every other year, possibly working with Tom Brady on getting 5-star players on the regular. Wait a second. I don't believe Jimmy football will leave. Okay. He doesn't believe that Harbaugh will leave. He believes that he's on a mission to compete with the SEC, and he's going to get Tom Brady. Oh, the GOAT who just retired. Well, so wouldn't that be a story, Rosidi? So not only are you thinking about, Jim, he's just out there like, last week, that was, pretty much the narrative. Jim's just doing this. He's putting the pressure on Ward. He's making everybody sweat. He's just enjoying it. Doesn't hurt to listen. And, now he's going to team up with Tom Brady, and Michigan's really going to knock this out of the park. So, that's still out there. So maybe you're right about that. But I did see a lot of people, tweeting out about, come on back, Tommy. Who knows what Tom Brady's going to do in retirement? Maybe there'll be a part where, he's going to recruit for Michigan. I don't think that's what's going to happen. And, Brady hasn't given any indication, but yeah, now there you go. Now talk about turning it all around and thinking about making a home run. I guess it would be like in baseball terms, swinging at that strike three and the game's over. But next thing you know, the ball has gone back to the backstop, and the catcher throws it into center field. You go all the way around and score, and you get a home run, right, Rosidi? But so we'll see. All right, so that's just where I'm at with Harbaugh. If you have any more questions, you want to put some of the feedback there, you can always catch me online at Dennis Fithian. My DMs are open there. You got any questions about the show, or you want to get that feedback in, you can wherever you're watching, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Just go over there in the comments. I read them, put them up on the screen. and I answer your questions and I read them off just like that. So I could sit here, and I have in some of these past digital podcasts talked about Harbaugh for 45 minutes straight. I don't know where that's getting me. I don't know. And I don't think I'm going to do that today. Talking about Jim Harbaugh 45 minutes. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. Maybe I'll be back. But some other things to get to, like the basketball team. They got a late night game against the Cornhuskers tonight. Michigan, a 14-point favorite. That tells you that they should win this one going away. They only have 12 games. They rescheduled the game against Michigan State that Michigan had to postpone because of COVID issues to March 1st. So now they've got 3 games in March. They've got 12 games left. They're 10-8. I'm going to give you this real easy. You don't have to, look at the net rankings. You don't have to go to Ken Pom. You don't have to go to bracketology with Joe Lenardi. I know all that stuff's fun and everything else. What Jerry Palm is saying. Michigan is 10-8. They've got 12 games left. They have to finish 4 games above 500. That's like the starter, to be considered on the bubble and get into the NCAA tournament. That means they're going to have to go 8-4 in these 12 games remaining. Can it be done? It can. And that would put them at 18-12. And remember, they had to postpone a game against Indiana, Fort Wayne. Probably would have been a dub. It could have got them 19 wins. So, maybe the, COVID situations, give them a little bit of leeway there. But I would just go with this if I was a Michigan fan, looking at 8-4 in the remaining 12. They've got Purdue, Ohio State, and Iowa twice. So if they split those games, win their home games, that does give them 3 losses. So then they can only afford 1 more loss. And they've got to go to Wisconsin. All right, so that, to me, that's going to be their 4th. Maybe it'll be different, but I'll say that those will be 4 losses. They also have to play Illinois and Michigan State. Now, they have those games at home. They're going to have to win them. They got to beat Illinois. They got to beat Michigan State. Or, they've got to take Purdue, Ohio State, or Iowa. They got to, sweep that series. It's coming down. Like, they can't lose tonight's game. You can go ahead and, put a pin in them. It's over. And so that's how it comes down, how I'm looking at it here. Zeb Jackson is hitting the portal. Disappointing here. And, it's part of the narrative of this year's Michigan team. People, ask a lot, well, what happened? Everybody thought this team was going to go to the Final Four. Well, what happened is there's about 6 things, and you can go to the 6 players. And one, and I'll do it fast. Brandon Johnson's a senior, and so was Adrian Nunez. Now, stranger things have happened. You can say Nunez is never going to give him any. No, Nunez is a 6'6" guy, supposed to be able to shoot the basketball. What's Michigan need the most? Boy, a marksman from outside. And he come in and at least play a role in his senior year. He's so great at TikTok. I know. His shot looks pretty good on TikTok. So does his outfit, his drip looks pretty good. But so that didn't work. The Nunez, the part that he could be like a senior and supply something. No. Brandon Johns Jr. Could he play like he did in the tournament, or like when he took up for Isaiah Livers last year? He's a senior. Look at Gabe Brown, how he's playing for Michigan State. Does it happen for Brandon Johns Jr.? Absolutely not. There's 2. How about some of the returning players that you would count on, like from being a freshman to sophomores? Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams has had a couple games, but has he made the jump forward like you would hope? If you're talking about competing for the Big Ten championship, answer there, no. Zeb Jackson. Now, point guards takes him a little bit longer to come along. You can call him a combo guard, point guard, whatever else. But man, could Michigan need a slasher and a scorer and a guy that could, just put the ball in his hands and say, go get us some points? They really don't have anybody like that on the roster. Zeb Jackson could have been one. He gone. So there's 4. Devontae Jones coming in, as a transfer, an up transfer from Coastal Carolina. Talked to Tim McCormick. Tim McCormick's like, you watch his highlight film, thought he was going to be better than Mike Smith. But you know what? Working with centers as a point guard where you don't have that in, Coastal Carolina's league where, it's just, it was a huge adjustment period. So there was another one. And, Jones is okay, but, not what you were hoping for out of the gate. So what's that, 5? Now you get to Caleb Houston. I saw Max Christie on Saturday making shots all over the place, score, jumper. That's what I was hoping to see from Caleb Houston. Caleb Houston was ranked higher by the recruiting service. The Rivals had Houston at 9, and I think Christie at 21. I was expecting a flat-out gunner from outside, a scorer. It hasn't happened. It's been an adjustment period. There's 6. That's a lot of stuff. Eli Brooks, is a nice player, and so is Hunter Dickinson. But you can't have relying on Eli Brooks to hand him the ball and say, okay, just go get us 20. He's not that kind of player. He can't be their number one option in the backcourt, and he is. So, none of those things have fit together, and that's why Michigan is where they're at now. The chance to turn this around, it's very negative. I know you could say, well, you're really negative towards Michigan basketball. Not really. I'm just explaining what has happened and what I see. Now, the chance to change my mind, it's not going to happen tonight with whatever they do against Nebraska, but they go to Purdue on Saturday afternoon. They go to Purdue Saturday afternoon, win that game on the road. Well, okay, that's going to be an eye-opener for me. It's going to be a little bit like, okay, I'm counting you out. Everybody's counting you out. And they want to not be counted out, go on the road, beat Purdue. Let's see that happen, How about that? Swept Wisconsin. They only play Whiskey once there, Lyle, from what I looked at, and it's on the road coming up. So that'll be a tough one. I've got that down as an L, but, go out and beat Wisconsin. That would be a mind changer as well. So we'll see if that is able to happen. The game is 9:00 tonight. That means after the game, they generally take a little bit over 2 hours. Around 11:15. I'll be here talking about what I saw tonight. And if you're not a late night person, guess what? Go to the podcast, Maize and Blue Review. It's right there. And same thing here. You want to watch it on YouTube, it's there for you as well. The recap. So on your way to work, good way to do it. Michigan basketball. Who else you listening to? Want to hear some Michigan hoops. And anything happens, any developments in the Harbaugh situation, I'll talk about that late night tonight as well. All right, 2 things to get to here. And one is Tom Brady making it official and retiring, and also the Michigan recruiting spotlight. And for the Michigan recruiting spotlight, let's go there first. Every day, something on recruiting. And we got an announcement coming up. And if you look there, you'll see that is from my neck of the woods out here is a running back, Cole Cabana. You see that Dexter 23, 4-star running back. He's got a 374 GPA. His 40 is almost as low or high as his GPA, a 4.34. White Lightning, 5'11", 181, number 1 running back ranked in Michigan. He is making his decision. And, when I first talked, he puts up some of his highlights here. 9 games, 2,187 all-purpose, 1,688 rushing, 28 touchdowns, 7 school records. Impressive. And, he looks good in that uni. There he is. He was going to make a decision on Friday, but he has changed it up. There it is. His commitment will be changed to this Saturday, February 5th at Dexter High School Gym at 2:00 Eastern. Stay tuned. Now, a future cast on the Maize and Blue Review was put in by Zach Libby. And when I first heard about Cole Cabana, I thought that the young man was headed to Michigan State. He has a teammate he's close with, and I thought he was going to be heading to East Lansing with his teammate. And that's what a lot of people in Dexter thought, that, he grew up a Spartan fan. But Libby doesn't think so. Libby says not so fast. He's putting his future cast in for Michigan. Now we'll see if that plays out. White Lightning, possibility of committing to Michigan coming up on Saturday. And yeah, if your question is, Lyle was talking about hockey with Wisconsin. Yeah, that confused me a little bit, Lyle. Sorry, I was talking about whiskey, and now you're talking about Wisconsin. I got you, Lyle. I'm getting excited. I'm ready for some hockey. Believe me, I'm getting ready for that. So now we get to Tom Brady retiring. The memorabilia minute. I don't have much Tom Brady stuff, but I do have a card here that I wanted to show you. Here he is, TB12 back when he was playing with the Pats. But I saw a picture, and so I tweeted it out. This of Tom Brady. Let me see if I can blow that up a little bit. Might be able to do that. And then blow it up. Oh yeah, it's blowing up. If you look there, if you look close on there, if you get a hashtag thank you Tom, they have they'll give you a goat with a 12 jersey on, which I think is pretty cool. And then you get Tom with the reflection there with the actual goat. I'm trying to blow up my screen here a little bit more. See if I can do it. Oh yeah. There it is. There's the little goat. See the little goat from Tom Brady. I did like the photo, and I like the hashtag. I would credit whoever, did their deal with the photo, but it didn't really say. So I just cropped it up, put it in there, and there he is. Let's see. Did I get anybody to give me any like? Okay, I got some likes. I had some likes. If that's important. I don't know. There you go. And maybe I need to change that picture. Looking pretty good there. Pretty good. All right. So that's that. All right. I will talk with you coming up tonight after the Michigan basketball game. Anything happens with Tom Brady. I don't think anything's happening with Tom Brady. If anything happens with Jim Harbaugh, could have an emergency pod. Give you the thoughts, tonight. I know a lot of people say he's good as gone. Don't let him get on the plane. Do something. Maybe the snow and ice. Maybe Mother Nature will intervene. We've got all this snowmageddon coming down and the rain. Maybe he'll have to stay on the tarmac and he'll have to stay put. And then, Ward will be there with a contract with have crazier things happen. Ricidi with a final shot here. He doesn't think Tom's going to fully retire. I don't know what that means. What are you going to be a part-time quarterback? Oh, we'll see. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for watching. That's going to do it. And we'll see you tonight after the Michigan game. I know it's a little sad, with little Bruno Mars talking about where Jim Harbaugh's at. I don't know. He's at. What's he gonna do?
What you doing?
Thanks for watching. See you later.
You got plans. Don't say that. Shut your trap. I'm sipping wine in a robe. I look too good.